Hello, and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. I know not many people want to, but we are 1-2. It's not the end of the world. We are still early. There's a lot of games to be played. So let's take a deep breath. I know everybody, there's a lot of people probably really mad and really sad. I am more the really disappointed people in that part. I was just really, really disappointed in that game yesterday because that was a winnable game. You look at the schedule, you looked how poorly they were playing. They were 0-2 Indy. They gave up 474 yards of rushing in 2 games. And quite honestly, they played very sloppy in the first half. They had a lot of penalties. And you're probably going to get madder when I give you the stats if you don't already know it. Monday, this is what I do. I go over what happened on the Sunday game, the comparisons here and there, and then I talk about what happened. And when you see on paper, the Bears won that game. They should have won that game, and they didn't. And it was the turnovers that did cost us that game, and we know it. Unfortunately, it is the truth. So it's not a happy Monday. But let's talk a little bit, and then we're going to get going. So we know the score was 16-21. We lost by 5 points. We are now 1-2. So let's talk about my threes: time of possession, turnovers, and penalties. I say it every week. If you win these 3, you have a good chance to win the game, if not win the game. And in week 2, this is the 3rd week in a row, well, 2nd week in a row that we won 2 out of the 3 and didn't win the game. I again was shocked how much time of possession the Bears had in the field. They just were on the field a lot. It didn't seem like it offensively, but apparently they were. They were on the time of possession for the Bears was 35 minutes, and it was 24 for the Colts. The Bears had 2 turnovers by our defense. The Colts got 3 turnovers, and we know what those were. We're going to talk about them. Penalty-wise, the Bears did much better this week compared to last week. They had 4 penalties for 25 yards. Very good. My rule is 5 or less, so I'll give them a A+ for that. And the Colts had 9 penalties for 78 yards. They were sloppy as hell. That alone, But I'm going to show you a couple spots where it proves what penalties do for the Bears. So in the first half of the Bears, they were out on the field, and they get there, and boom, right off the bat, boom, 1st and 10, they're out there. Illegal motion or man downfield. Now it's 1st and 15. Bears end up punting. Stop the drive. Right before the half, the Bears had a chance for some points, and they okay, wait a minute, yes, they had a chance to go down there right before the half, and then they kept giving themselves some penalties. They kept pushing it back, and then they were 1st and 20, and they never recovered, and they couldn't even go for a field goal. That's actually when I think he missed the one field goal because it was just too far. I think it was a 58er, and he missed it. Penalty hurt us there. We could have maybe gotten a field goal. And then Indy, this was on the punt team. Indy was going to punt. The defense had stopped them, and we were going to give our offense good offensive position. And then they got a penalty. It gave Indy a 1st down. Their offense went back out on the field. You can't have it. That's how bad penalties are. So penalties definitely played a part in the loss. Not a lot, but it did. This is where you're going to get really mad. I'm telling you. The total number of plays, the Bears had 395 yards of plays. Indy had 306, beat them. We had a total of Williams had great passing. There's no doubt about it. There was a total of 363 yards in passing. Indy only had 156. And rushing, we were terrible again. 63 yards total. What the hell? And Indy ran all over our defense. That's about the only bad thing the defense did yesterday is they did give up 150 yards on the ground, and that hurt. Williams was 33 of 52, 363 in yards passing. He had 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a fumble, and 4 sacks. The fumble cost us 7 points because that fumble was down by, was on the 15-yard line. And the thing about that fumble was he had a wide open. He saw that number 15 Rome was becoming, and he knew he could hit him. So that's what he was trying for. Strip sack. It wasn't a sack. It was a fumble. They got the ball back on the 15-yard line, went in and scored. And then Cabe was sacked 4 times. A couple times were on him and a couple times were on the O-line. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am not going to bitch about the O-line today. We're going to talk about that in a minute, though. Let's finish the stats. So the rush, our rush is atrocious. 63 yards. And on Friday's show, if you remember, I said we have to get number 23 Johnson and number 24 Herbert in there because these guys can run. They can push the pile. They can break through these small holes. They don't go down when they're touched. So 23 Johnson had 8 touches for 30 yards. Herbert had 9 touches for 9 yards. And Swift, number 4, had 13 touches for 20 yards. He sucks. Swift, I know. So this is the part of the game I really don't like, is the money part. So Poles went and got him in the offseason. And I don't know, did you not look? He doesn't look like he fits the Bears scheme at all. And he, as soon as he gets tackles, this guy's down. He does not keep going. Now, he's probably somebody we could use for, like a screen pass, short passes. But he did drop a pass yesterday. But he cannot run the fucking ball. You have got to start using Johnson and 24. I say sit Swift next week. I don't care that Poles did it. Yeah, you're going to have to admit you made another mistake. All GMs do it. We do know Nate Davis, huge mistake from 3 years ago when he signed him. He's turned out to be a bust. And now Swift, I know it's only 3 games, but in my opinion, he has showed me nothing. I mean, there hasn't been a burst at all from him. We haven't gotten any bursts. Well, you can't keep doing 3-4 yards. You got to get in every once in a while. You got to get a 10, 15-yard run from these running backs. And I believe, truly, if you leave Johnson and Herbert in there the entire game and keep pounding the team, you're going to get that 100 yards plus that we need. And the running game is a quarterback, especially a rookie quarterback's best friend. Now, you're probably saying, well, the O-line sucks. It wasn't all the O-line. It's just not. Swift is horrible. And yeah, but you know what? Sometimes the running backs just have to take it on their shoulders and make it happen. And I've seen it happen in past with our bad O-lines. And the O-line was better yesterday. And our line, you know what? This passing running attack is awful. I believe had we gotten over 100 yards, we would have won that game, and I think you're all right. You gotta, we had time of possession shocked me, but it's because, they were passing, and we scored. Obviously, he scored 2 touchdowns yesterday, and that was great. And actually, congratulations to Cabe Williams and to number 15 Rome, and that was his first touchdown caught. So it was kind of funny in the game because they were fighting over the ball, who's going to get it, So, that was pretty funny, but we're going to talk about the run a little bit more. Then the pass, number Rome 15, he had a pretty good day. 6 catches for 112 yards. It was really nice to see Williams and Rome's connecting, and that's got to continue. And it sure would be nice if we could see more, get a little bit more involved there too. Comment on my Friday show. I also said, where the hell is Comment 85, our tight end? That guy catches everything, and he gains yards. And they listened to me. He had 10 touches with 97 yards for a touchdown. And Moore had 8 touches with 78 yards. I'd like to see Moore get more. And what would really help us if Allen, another one we signed, I know he's injured, so you can't blame him. I can't blame him like I do Swift. But Allen, we need that guy in the game. He's got to get better. And I do like number 11. I think that he's pretty good. I think I like that kid, and I'd like to see him get some more catches too. So, there was definitely improvement. Cave made some really good decisions, but there were 2 bad decisions, clearly. The fumble, I'm not going to say that was a bad decision because it happened. He saw the guy and he knew he could hit him, but that guy got to him too fast. A second or two later, we might have had a long completion. So, but the interceptions were on Williams for sure, and they hurt. But he is a rookie, and that is going to happen, and I am pretty convinced he's going to learn from those. But there's still our receivers and him aren't on the page 100%. There was one, it might have been more, where he had them and he just completely overthrew them. They weren't on the same page. So there's some things they when they're practicing, during the week and stuff like that, it's not the same as game. It's not the same at all. So for Williams and our receivers, they have really got to pull this together. But there was definite improvement. I mean, I saw a lot of stuff online yesterday. We haven't had a quarterback throw that ever, 363 yards. And that's great. Great job by Williams, but we didn't win. And at the end of the day, this is a team victory. It's a team played sports, and at the end of the day, stats don't mean anything if you don't get a W. And I'm sure Caleb Williams would be the very first to admit that, and I'm sure he did. So we need to get W's with these things, but we did see improvement. So we gotta take the positive. I did say in the beginning of the year, he's a rookie. He's going to make these mistakes. And all the greats did. All of them did. If you go back and looking at their careers, they all started. So we have got to be patient. But the problem is, it's the run game. And it's not Williams now, it's the run game. I think Williams is going to get better and better each week, and we saw it yesterday. Big improvement from last week and improvement from week 1. So he is doing what we want. But if you can't give this guy a run game and you got to wear those defenses out, forget it. Their run game of 150 yards, the Colts ran our defense out. They were aghast by the end of that game because they just ran up and down. Obviously, they had just as much running yards as they had passing yards. And that's going to hurt you and it's going to kill your defense. And it did. They looked gassed to me. So let's finish our stats. So our defense, we had 2 interceptions. One from our linebacker, 49, Edmonds, and one from number 1, our backfield, Jalen Johnson. I love JJ. The Bears defense had 2 sacks. One was Sweat, and the other one, I got it listed somewhere, I forget. Was it Dexter? Anyways, we had 2 sacks. The top tacklers for yesterday's game of the defense was number 95 Walker, the opposite. He's playing opposite of Sweat. He's an edge rusher. He had 9 tackles, and our young rookie Austin Booker, he's also being put in. Number 94, he's going in for Walker. They're going back and forth. Our next highest tackler, 29, our cornerback Stevenson, he had 6. Number 31, Bide, our safety, he had 6. Number 9, Brisker, our safety, had 6. So they had some good. They were all over the field. The standouts on defense to me were 97 Billings. He had another great game. 99, our second year defensive line guy, Dexter Sr. I liked 49, our rookie, Austin Booker. He had a couple plays in there I saw. That was awesome. Sweat had a wonderful day, 98 Sweat. And then number 31, Bard also had a game. So those guys really, really stepped up. But the defense, they're out there plugging away. They're doing the best they can, and they're looking up, and there's no points to speak of on that board. And the points there's no points in the Bears' favor ever. I don't think we've led a game since the season started. Okay, and they gave the ball back to the defense, but the offense, the defense gave them 2 interceptions, but they didn't, you got to score more points is what I'm saying, okay? But this one really pissed me off because we should have had a 3rd interception because when the Bears, Billings, had an interception, Sweat had sacked Richardson, their quarterback, and the ball, he let it go, and he threw it, and it landed in Billings' hands, but the ref said they blew the whistle dead before he released the ball. Bullshit! That was another ref's bullshit call. We should have had that interception, and who knows what the Bears could have done. I mean, come on. God. But it really that run game of Indy is really what won it for them. They had 156 yards, 150 yards rushing, and they just gassed our defense. I mean, you can really only ask so much. I mean, yes, that's their job, and I kind of was a little pissed at Flus's press conference yesterday because when it was at the end of the game and there was 59 seconds left in the game, and it was a minute and something. Anyways, Indy had the ball. The Bears had no more timeouts because again they wasted it, which we're going to talk about. And the Bears, if they would have gotten a 3 and out, they would have had like 50 something seconds left on the clock, and unfortunately the Bears couldn't do it. But Flus called them out on that. He's like, well, if we would have stopped them on that last drive, we would have stopped them, had a 3 out, we would have had one more chance. Fuck you, Flus. You know what? That defense has kept us in the last 3 games. Those games would have been blowouts if even that win, they won that game, that first game. You can't be knocking the Bears. Yeah, they did, but you know what? It was the end of the game, and they were gassed, and I know it, and that was bullshit that you called them out. It really was. And, but we had no timeouts because let's talk about that. Again, they wasted a timeout. When we got that touchdown, they couldn't decide if they were going to go for 1 point or a 2-point conversion, which they ended up going for the 2-point conversion. It didn't really matter, made no difference. But you don't call a timeout in the 3rd quarter or the top of the 4th quarter for that. And we needed that timeout because maybe we could have stopped them with an extra timeout and the Bears defense would have done it. So bullshit. Don't be blaming it on the defense for that loss because it was not. And like I said, I'm not going to be a bitch about the O-line because I saw improvement. And if there's improvement, we have got to mention it because they can't keep beating up. We got to give them encouragement, but they are still a long way to go. Okay, and as I said, Williams did have some great numbers. He played better. It's just we got to get him and the wide receivers on the same page. Again, that fumble really hurt us because it did give up 7 points. You don't have that fumble down on the 15-yard line. Maybe the Bears do come away with that game because we lost by 5 points. So we would have won that game, but you never know. But again, and I like seeing that Rome, number 15, our rookie wide receiver, and Williams are connecting. I just got to get Allen back. If we can get Allen back in there, that'll really, really help because then you've got, Rome, Allen, Moore. I like number 11. You've got Cole Kmet, who is an awesome catcher. And then you can use your running backs here and there. So, we got to get him back. But again, this running game, I blame the running game and the coaches for losing this game. The offensive coordinator, he is just awful. We're down on the 1 yard line, first and goal, and we don't score anything. 0. This isn't Pee-wee, you guys. 4 runs. I mean, don't you think Indy knew that was coming? And the fact that you can't fucking run the ball should be an eye-opener. They should have at least mixed it up with the pass. And why not try a quarterback sneak? He's big. Come on, let's do the push-cush, or whatever the damn cush-push call is. But you know what? You cannot be down on the 1 yard line and score no points. Again, they score a touchdown, Bears win the game. You know what? And the other way I looked at it, maybe they should have just taken the 3 points, because points are important and it helps lift up the team. So, okay, you're down, 3rd down, you don't make it, 4th down, kick the points, take the 3. It would have been 3-7 at that point. I know it's not a lot, but it could lift up the team. Like, okay, we got points, let's just keep going, right? No. So the takeaways were no run game. Swift is awful. Sit him. Put Herbert and Johnson in. The offensive coordinator cannot call a game to save his life. It's like, here we are again, Getsy too. I mean it. And apparently, I'm reading some stuff that he came from Seattle, and Seattle fans thought he was awful. But I don't know. Seattle won, a lot. So I don't know. And then some people say his scheme, he's not getting the calls into Cabe Williams fast enough. So that's becoming a problem, because Cabe's having to look to the sidelines. You've got a rookie in there, head or OC coordinator. What's his last name? Shane. Help him out. Get those plays in there right away so he can see so he can line up, get to the line, see what the defense isn't doing. Help him out. The running backs and the OC coordinator are helping Williams 0. You get these two on board. You get the running backs to get 100 yards. You get the OC coordinator to actually call a decent game. Maybe we can win some games, and Cabe can, not get sacked so much. So I'm just telling you, it was the lack of running game and some stupid ass calls, head coach, and so I give the head coach a D, I give the offensive coordinator a D, and I give our defensive coach, which is pretty much Flus, a B+. And I gotta say, I was really digging on this rookie punter, 19 Taylor, and he's had a couple, but yesterday he did not have a good day. It's not why we lost the game, but he did not have a good day. So I'm hoping that is just one of those fluke things, right? So it's pretty basic. I'm not, people were probably like, oh, she's probably going to be yelling her ass off, because I do get really mad, but you can't, because there was improvement in this game. We know it. It's again, simple like it was last week. Last week it was the O-line and the penalties. And this week it's the lack of running game last week. There's been no running game. When can you remember that the Bears have gone 3 games without not getting 100 yards in one of the games? That's something I should look up, because we are known for 2 things in Chicago Bears: defense and a running attack. And we have no running attack. It's just bad. And they need, when they started putting in Johnson and Herbert, I'm like, oh, yes, finally. And they were making yards. And then they were playing for a while, and then that idiot comes back, and Swift. He's awful. And especially when he's running on the side, he can never get around. He doesn't have the burst to do that. He gets tackled every time. Sit Swift. I know you paid him, Poles, and I know it's an ego thing, but I don't give an F. I want a W. But I do have something funny I want to tell you. I thought of this. So I was watching other games, and this is a funny scenario. At one point, who was playing Dallas? Oh, gosh. Who beat Dallas yesterday? I can't remember. Anyways, so when they were in that game, Dallas was getting creamed. God, who was it? Wasn't New Orleans? Philadelphia? No, Philadelphia lost to New Orleans. I don't know. God, Pickled. Pickled. Um, so anyways, doesn't matter. They were getting creamed. They ended up coming back in the game, but ended up losing the game. And I said this to my son. Oh, I've got a great scenario for you. And I'm not really a conspiracy or a scenario person, but I like this one. I said, so when Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, fires Mike Martz, who is their head coach and an offensive coordinator in his past, I said the Bears should hire him as their offensive coordinator, get rid of this guy, and then when we start winning, because he would turn it around, I know that he could work with Williams, because he worked with Favre back in the day, and they won. And he worked with Favre when Favre was young. And so let's say we get Mike McCarthy and we start winning, then he can give the F word to Jerry Jones. Go, yeah, F you for firing me. So it was funny because I was on a website somewhere and I just mentioned it as a joke. And do you know, a couple hours later, there was like, it's some kind of a CBS website. There was like, it's a caption where it says the top comments everybody was making about the game. And my comment was in there. They put it in there. It said, even a fan thinks we should hire Mike Marks after he gets fired from Dallas. I thought that was damn funny. Oh, gosh. Hey, you got to have some fun, right? But nothing else to really say. We have to get that running game going or we're not going to have. Now, next week is another winnable game. We play Rams. I do know that they beat San Francisco last night at the end of the game. At the end, they won it. But San Francisco they have half of their playmakers on offense out hurt. So I wasn't surprised. Actually, San Francisco was beaten the most of the game, and then the Rams came back and won. But I think the Rams are beatable, and it's in Chicago, so I think that should help. But only if we can get that running game going. I mean, it is really, and Flus and his stupid ass comments, oh, it's a progress. We have to accelerate better. We have to play 110%. Oh, and I love this. This is what he calls turnovers. He doesn't say we need to stop with the turnovers, which is, yes, exclamation point, exclamation point. He calls it honoring the ball. Yeah, because I'm like, what is he talking about? He kept saying, we need to honor the ball more. And he said it like 3 times. We need to honor the ball more. And I'm like, oh, he's talking, instead of saying turnovers, he's saying honoring the ball. Because all 3 turnovers were on his quarterback. And I don't know if that was a gentler way to say it was on him. But we all know he threw 2 interceptions and a fumble. Hello? So I guess he wasn't honoring the ball. Okay. What are you going to do? You know what? Part of me, the reason Flus is great on defense. That's why we have a great defense. But he is not good on offense, and he didn't, I don't think, hire somebody who can really be. They needed to hire somebody who was this close to being a head coach, but your offensive coordinator, meaning he can run the team and be the offensive coordinator. I don't think Flus has it in him, and I know why he was hired, why he was not fired. Everybody was pissed. They let Getsy go. Most people thought Flus should go too. Well, I believe he didn't, because we started winning at the end of last season, and he kept the locker room together. You don't hear bitching. They were losing. You hear a lot of, we're going to get it together. We're young. This and that. So I think that's why he was hired. Was not fired, sorry. And so, but a lot of people, I don't know. I like him. He keeps the morale, but you can see the frustration. And when Cabe was talking after the press conference, you could see he knows, but he knows he has to get better. But, they can't say it. They can't say we have a sucky running team, because you can't do it. But that's the bottom line. And one of my worries is they're going to wear this defense out like they've done in years past. And by midseason, these guys get tired. And when they're tired, they get hurt. And when they get hurt, then things start to get really bad. So our offense has to pick up the slack because you don't want to piss off the defensive players. They're going to get pissed off. They're huffing and puffing out there, stopping these guys. They're stopping NFL teams and giving them, yes, they gave them 150 yards. I know that rushing, but if our offense would have been scoring more points, maybe it wouldn't have been like that. Because then, if we're leading the game, then Indy can't run the ball. Then they would have to go to the pass that they weren't successful with. So see how important it is? See, so if the offense, Chicago Bears put points on, and we're actually leading the game, and Indy has to come from behind, they got to stop running it. But because they were in the lead the entire time, they know the Bears can't score points. They just kept running the ball down their throats, and it worked. The Bears would do the same thing if it was a different scenario. So see how important it is to have that run game and have points on the board? Because it does. It changes everything for both teams. I guarantee it. The Bears were winning by the 5 points or 7 points. That team would not have been running in the fourth quarter. Indy would have been throwing, and we probably would have had more interceptions. Because I think there was another one he could have had and one was dropped. I'm pretty sure there should have been 3. But see what I mean? So that's the bottom line. I tend to beat a dead horse, and I'm just extremely disappointed. And a reporter did ask Coach Flus sort of that question. And I can't exactly remember, but it was a bullshit answer. He said something like, Coach, we know what you're saying. It's a work in progress. We got to, clean up our mistakes. We got to get our running tack going. But do you realize, because the coach said it's 1-2. We have a long way to go. We are not giving up. And then the reporter said, but do you understand how defeated and how down the Bears fans are after this game? Thinking that it was a winnable game going in. Everybody talk about it being winnable, and it wasn't. And he's like, yeah, and he gave some bullshit answer. No, you better get your shit together, Flus, because this town is tired of losing. You know what? I say, well, you know what I say. I'm not going to say anymore, but it's bullshit, and you got a D again. He got a D last week, and he got a D this week. So, same with the offensive coordinator. So, that's all, guys. So let's all take a deep breath. It is early time. We're 1-2. If we could pull a win out next week against the Rams at home, it's 2-2, and things look a lot better. So let's hope the Bears can figure out this damn run game. Watch my show. Listen to what I say, because they did put in Johnson, Herbert, and Komet, like I said Friday. Just saying, maybe somebody is watching my show from the Bears. But get that run game going. All right. Anyways, let's get some of these guys healthy. We have some banged up linemen, and we need Allen back on the field. So that's it. I will be doing a show on Friday. We will be going over the Rams and the Bears for the Sunday game, and we'll see what happens there. So everybody take a deep breath. We're 1-2. Season is a long season, okay? I believe Caleb is going to get better and better and better. It's just whether, what needs to get better. And on that note, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I just want to thank you. I got a few more subscribers and people. Did I hear somebody else new? I can't remember. I don't know. There's just, everybody's writing me. So yeah, keep writing me from where you're watching me from. I really appreciate it. It really does mean a lot. Yeah, you know what? I love the Bears. I've been watching them. I did see that one guy wrote on some website, I've been a fan since the 60s, and I'm getting too old. I'm not around this earth any much longer. Please win for me. And I'm like, yeah, me too, man. I'm not younger. I'm not young, and I'm getting older. Let's win. Okay, on that note, I'm running over time. I want you, as I always leave my show, be kind, love one another. Help people out if they need it. Stop hate. Let's just respect people and care for one another. We're all in this together, and it's just easier to be happy and nice. and bitching about stupid stuff we can't control, it's just not worth it. So it's stress we just do not need, right? I know I don't. I mean, look at this right here. Between my family and the Bears, that's why. My niece sent me a picture the other day. We were out at believe it or not, I was at a Cubs game with some family members. I'm a White Sox fan, but which is really embarrassing to say because they're setting a losing record. Oh well, I can't pick them, can I? And she sent a picture of, and she said this was 10 years ago, and I go, oh yeah, I believe it. I don't have any gray hair yet. That's what's happened the last 10 years. Oh well, I think I'm rocking it, don't you? Because you guys turn me on, don't you? Ooh, ba-dum-bum. All right, again, love one another, be kind. Bears fans, you rock. Take a deep breath. It's 1 and 2. We are coming back because we are the Chicago Bears. And on that note, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby.